Another question I get a lot is, what if I say something embarrassing in therapy? Not uncommon. What may be embarrassing for you, your provider may not think is embarrassing at all. It's all subjective. It all has to do with an individual perspective and individual experience. And so, again, not here to judge you or shame you, but to help you walk through that so that it becomes less intense and less meaningful in your life in a negative way. So please don't hesitate to say something that you feel might be embarrassing. And you could even preface it by saying, this is embarrassing for me to admit or embarrassing for me to say, but, and there's nothing wrong with that. The next question I'll go over is, will my psych provider think I'm crazy? I get this question a lot. And again, it's not about judgment. We are listening for patterns in health, diet, day-to-day stuff, relationships, sleep, anxiety, mood, exercise, exposure to sunlight, those types of things, right? We're just listening for patterns. It's not about thinking that you're crazy or that, oh my gosh, you're a mess, you're absolutely nuts. That's really not what we're thinking. What we're thinking is, okay, what patterns am I hearing? What can I help them address first? Which one of these patterns should I address first to make the most impact positively in this person's life? That's really what we're thinking. Next question is, what if I'm scared to tell the truth? Not uncommon. I think every human being experiences that. Sometimes telling the truth can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you may not have control once it's out there, so to speak. But again, everything you tell us is confidential. We're not calling people up. We're not telling our colleagues about this embarrassing thing that you did. It's really, again, about how can we best help you navigate that situation so that you feel okay with it. Again, it's not about shaming you, judging you, putting you in this hierarchy level. It's about helping you get back to feeling good about yourself. And that's really the goal with psychiatry and with therapy in general. Will my provider be mad if I stopped my meds? A good provider? No, I don't think so. Outside of some of the medications, things like lithium, Depakote that are very sensitive, but again, I just encourage you to have that safe space talking with your provider and say, hey, I'm not feeling good, or I feel good and I want to stop it now, so that you can come off of it safely. You're not in trouble. You're not going to be punished or chastised for it, but we just want to know so that we can best help you. If you want to get off medication, I'm all ears. Let's talk about how that looks for you, what the benefits are, what the risks are, and if that's realistic for you, if maybe we can start doing a slow reduction or a taper. But I'm always open to talking about that with people because it's never meant to be long-term most of the time. Can I say I don't like my medication? Another great question, absolutely. In fact, I really want to know what you don't like about your medication. That's very helpful for me as a provider, so I can think, okay, these are the aspects that have been helpful and these are the aspects that have not been helpful. That helps me think about the chemistry with the medication, the class of the medication, and several other things. It helps me decide if that is just not even something we should consider for you, if we need to talk about something different. But yes, highly encourage you to tell your provider if you don't like your medication. Again, as I've said before, medication is meant to help you feel more empowered, more like yourself, so that you can build skills and tools and safety while you are managing things, and then the medication can fall away. But if you are taking medication and you feel numb, flat, zombie-like, a robot, angry, agitated for extended periods of time, that's something that's very important for us as providers to know as well, because that may not be the right medication for you. So yes, absolutely tell your provider if you don't like your medication. And then the last question I'll go into is, can I talk about trauma without going into details? Absolutely. A lot of times the first appointment I will ask if you have any trauma history, and you don't have to provide details, but just knowing that specifically helps me decide which medications may or may not be right if you are a candidate for medication. So yes, you can say I have a trauma history, I'm not ready to talk about it yet, or I have had some things in my past happen that are pretty traumatic or significant, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet. And that's fine. We recognize that you're coming into an appointment to talk to essentially a complete stranger. And I understand that you're not going to feel 100% comfortable in the very first appointment, whether it's an hour or an hour and a half, to divulge personal, vulnerable information. So it's fine to just say that you have a trauma history without going into details. We can always do that later if you want to, but you shouldn't feel pressured or rushed into that. It is something important that I like to keep in mind, because different parts of the brain are activated by trauma, and specific medications work on different parts of the brain. So sometimes some meds aren't as effective if you have a lot of trauma history going on. So I like to know if you have it, but we don't need to go into details and all of the things about it. But yes, you can disclose that you have it without going into the details. I hope those questions helped you. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, you can either drop it down below in the comments. And if you prefer to remain anonymous, you can go to our website and click on the contact me and just send it to me anonymously. Through your email, I won't mention your name or anything, and I will be happy to feature it in one of our Q&As. So subscribe and like and share if you find this information helpful. I hope that you have a wonderful day.